Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. If you have been watching the channel over the last couple of weeks, I'm sure you knew this video was coming. After 8 years full-time reviewing watches on YouTube, 1,250 plus videos and countless, and I do mean countless, watch buys, swaps and sales over that time, I have found the perfect watch. For me, for now. Now you notice there I did not just say the watch was perfect, because I still maintain there is no such thing as the perfect watch. I do have a few gripes with this one, including the price tag, but for who I am now and where I am now and what I want from a watch at this point in time, I found it. I don't think there is anything else on the market that would be more suitable than the watch on my wrist for me, my shiny new black dial Citizen Chronomaster AQ 4091-56E. Today I'm going to show you the watch in some detail. I'm going to get both my macro lens and my super macro lens onto it, and there is no hiding from those two. I'm going to give you the pros, but I'm also going to give you the cons. Then I'm going to tell you why I think it's the perfect watch for me. Now, my personal Chronomaster story, if you will, started back in 2022 when I was looking for a high accuracy quartz daily driver, and I started researching Citizen's The Citizen range. At that time they were a JDM only product, and after much back and forth and some patient trawling on buyye.jp, I found a barely used white dial example for a great price, and I bought it. Now this was already an older version. I believe it had been superseded around the middle of 2022. The one I bought had the word Chronomaster on the dial, whereas the new model has the Citizen Eagle on the dial that some people, myself included, cruelly refer to as the chicken. Well, the watch duly arrived and I loved it. Eco drive, solar movement, perpetual calendar, plus or minus 5 seconds per year, titanium case, crown and bracelet. The ultimate set and forget, everyday wear analog watch. But of course, it wasn't perfect. As discussed, there is no such thing in my opinion as the perfect watch. The lume was okay, but nothing to write home about. There were 0 adjustment positions on the bracelet, meaning you were therefore rather obliged to wear it loose. And my biggest gripe, silver hands against the white washy paper dial, not particularly legible in combination. Nonetheless, I wore the shit out of that watch for 2.5 years, proving that it was indeed the right choice for me. Fast forward to the beginning of 2025 and I bought a used Tudor Ranger from Stephen, Mr. P, my friend and business partner at EREBUS. And the Chronomaster got a bit of a break. It took a backseat because I wore the Tudor as my main watch throughout January, February and into March this year. And it is a fantastic watch. I love the black dial and the legibility of those hands against the black dial. But I need a date complication on my daily. 2 months or so with the Tudor really crystallized that. So a couple of weeks ago I decided to make a switch, to sell my white dial Chronomaster and buy a black dial Chronomaster, although of course I bought first and sold second. Thanks to Joshua in the USA, who is now the happy new owner of the white one. Citizen The Citizen are now available officially here in Australia, so I didn't have to buy the black dial watch from Japan. I picked it up locally here in Sydney with a hefty discount, but it still cost me a not inconsiderable sum to change over, if you will, to an only slightly newer version of essentially the same watch. But you know what? I already know I did the right thing even after just 2 short weeks. The newer version is significantly better in a couple of areas. First and foremost, legibility. The silver hands against the black dial are just so much easier to read than the silver hands were against the white dial, especially as the hands themselves have changed. The newer ones are much nicer than the old ones. They're super sharp, they're beautifully finished, very reminiscent of the hands on a Grand Seiko, which are some of the best watch hands in the watch business. The clarity of the sapphire crystal here is even more exceptional on the black dial than on the white dial. The glass only really reveals itself when it's dirty or when you look at the watch from an oblique angle. It is incredibly good. It is, without a doubt, the finest piece of glass that I have ever seen on a watch. The lume on the new watch is also better than on the old version, far more pronounced in a low light transition when you kind of walk inside from outside, for example, and it lasts better over the course of the night as well. That's not to say there isn't room for a little more on the hands. Mind you, I don't think I've ever seen a watch that wouldn't benefit from a little bit more lume. And while we're niggling, the switch to a black dial has rather highlighted the non-colour match date wheel at the 3. It's great for legibility, but a black date wheel would definitely have looked more cohesive, I think. Now, I used to think the hands were a millimetre too short on the old watch. I've kind of changed my perspective on that, but I do think they're perhaps half a millimetre too narrow. They could definitely have coped with some extra meat on their bones. It's a 40mm watch after all. The crown is much smaller on the new version than on the old version, and when focused on in isolation, it looks too small. It looks disproportionately small for the watch, and it no longer screws down as it did on the older version. But considering I will only ever use the crown if I take the watch overseas to adjust the hours, or once a year when I adjust the movement, if indeed I can be bothered adjusting it once a year, those 5 crucial seconds, a small crown is actually a benefit overall. And there are still no micro adjust positions available. The watch does come with 2 half links, but that's it. I've really just kind of leaned into the looseness there for this time. I've even added an extra half link, making it bigger than before. So this one pretty much lives permanently below the knuckle. And then there's the price. The Australian RRP of these is $5,200. To put that into context, that's the same money as a brand new Tudor Ranger and a lot more money than a Grand Seiko 9F Quartz with a very similar case profile. I didn't pay $5,200 for this one though, so there is undoubtedly quite a bit of wiggle room from your local citizen dealer, in the way that there is undoubtedly no wiggle room at all from your local Tudor dealer, so do bear that in mind. But it's still a chunk of change for a citizen regardless, no matter which way you try and skin it. So, perfect? No. Perfect for me? At this point in time, yes. I am not though for 1 minute suggesting that this is the perfect watch for all of you, because you know, we all have our own different needs and wants, we all have our own distant tastes, so we have our own different habits, and we want slightly different things from our wristwatches. Set and forget, high accuracy, super light, super comfortable, super legible quartz though is exactly what I need as my daily driver watch at the moment. I am constantly buying watches, selling watches, reviewing watches, flipping watches, and I love the constancy of the Chronomaster. I love the fact that this one is always there for me when I need it. Sure, I could have got pretty much the same effect from any of the Casio Oceanus range, or indeed a much cheaper Citizen Eco Drive, but the Chronomaster is undoubtedly a lot more special than either of those options. And Grand Seiko do not do a titanium quartz with lume. Now, this is not a watch I would have bought 5 years ago. I wasn't at all interested in Citizen back then, and I was far more into retro divers than dressy Gardas. It certainly therefore wasn't a watch that I would have looked at 10 years ago either. It does look a little bit mature, shall we say. I am well aware of that. I think that though means perhaps it'll still be a watch that I'm keen to wear in 5 or even 10 years time as I mature myself. You know, I found the same thing with cars over the years, that if you buy something you love today, you're not necessarily going to love it in 5 years time when your tastes change or your needs change. I loved this XR6 when I bought it at the age of 31, but I couldn't wait to get rid of it when I sold it at the age of 36, for example. But I think the Chronomaster has got a little bit of future-proofing built in because it's a timeless and sophisticated design, shall we say. I could definitely see myself rocking this one for quite some time into the future. So there you have it. Famous last words, but given how much wear the white dial got, I'm confident that the black dial is going to perform exactly the same role, but it's going to perform it just that little bit better. Have you found your perfect watch for you here, now, today? If so, what is it? Leave me a comment, let me know. And have you seen your tastes and your needs evolve with time like I have? Have you drifted to or from quartz or to or from divers like I have, for example? At the end of the day though, it's just all part of the fun, isn't it? If you want to go on a deep dive on the Chronomaster, the most comprehensive review available on YouTube, click here. Or if you want to listen to my philosophizing about my quartz opinions, click here. Thanks for watching this one. No more Chronomaster videos for the next couple of years, I promise.